Hello, and welcome to Are You Still Listening, a podcast about Netflix. I am your best friend host, Melissa, a bored death god hanging out on this world for fun.
And I'm Michael, your other best friend host, and this user believes that Ted Danson can still get it.
All right. See, I was trying to keep it on topic, but that's...
Well, if you do
that
watch,
sounded passive aggressive.
No, that's okay. No, I mean, but to your discredit, if you do watch The Good Place, I believe Ted Danson does have some business / cross pollination with death vis-a-vis death entities.
So you're saying that there could be a Good Place / Death Note crossover, you think?
Yeah, so this is basically, hold on, let me pull up my Wattpad real quick, or my fanfiction.net. Let me just... yeah, so Ted Danson / the Ryuk, the demon from Death Note, chapter 1, two very tall, gangly people meet.
Two tall entities walk into a bar. They're very much in love.
Yes. I don't remember what interview it was from. Wait, no, it wasn't an interview. It was from the last episode of The Good Place, the one where all the Good Place people are like, oh, you wouldn't want to talk to any of the people from the Bad Place. They're all evil, despicable monsters. And Ted Danson goes, or Michael, whatever, he goes, oh, I don't know. I think some of them are probably handsome, man-about-town types. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. It's 2019. Not
That's
the
right.
first episode released in 2019, but the first one that we are recording in 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, we're living in it now.
Yeah, no, the future is here.
The time stream is caught up to us, and time is an ever-flowing vessel.
Like in Blade Runner, we're going to have to, that takes place in 2020, so we're all going to have to start dressing real weird stat.
Oh yeah, the cyberpunk agenda has begun starting today.
Starting now, we got to start dressing weird.
Because also, Amazon is going to be trying to steal your face. It's going to be trying to take pictures of you and steal your face through facial recognition software. So we all got to wear that anti-facial recognition cyberpunk makeup and weirdly cut bangs that make it where it can't recognize the AI can't pick us out from a crowd and charge our credit cards for 50 Alexas.
Asymmetrical, computer algorithm confusing makeup is the new black. And we got to get on it.
Yeah,
this has been our future fashion podcast.
Yeah, that was also my weird, that was my favorite weird spinoff of Orange is the New Black. Where they all go to prison in weird cyberpunk dystopia.
I would watch that show, honestly.
No, I know,
Netflix,
right?
Netflix, get on it.
Netflix needs to get on it because Netflix isn't, they're going to be up in their dollar charge or whatever. They better be rolling up the new content.
Yeah, if they're going to be charging us more, I expect some cool cyberpunk prison dramas.
Yeah, who does Netflix think they are, honestly? Asking me for another $1 every month for the account I definitely pay for.
Definitely pay for. Super not Kendall's.
Oh, I don't use Kendall's. I use Geraldine's.
Oh.
Oh, shout out. I don't even know if she's still listening, but I do... I said first episode I would give her a shout out. I do not remember if I did or not.
I think you did.
Either way, here's another shout out for my very good friend Geraldine Wilkes, whose Netflix I still use day to day. And I'm currently messing up probably each and every algorithm that Netflix might have for determining what movies she would like.
Her algorithm. Why didn't you just make a separate little profile?
They already have all of them. There's her, there's Weldon, there's the other people's accounts.
See, I made a whole separate profile for the trash movies I was going to be watching for this show. And my dad was like, what's bad movies? Is that yours? And I'm like, yep, that's mine.
Don't click that.
I mean, the only terrible movie we've watched is Hot Bud.
We can't keep mentioning it like a dark specter. Okay, moving on. So this is a special episode.
Yes.
Because this is the first episode where, we came back from our very great Christmas breaks. We came back from our various fun times we had over Christmas break. I went skiing in Utah and to Puerto Rico. And Melissa's sister
got married. So if you're listening, Mrs. Whitaker, oh my God.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. Congratulations.
When is she going to be Dr. Whitaker?
Very soon, this May.
Ooh, that's really cool. Anyway, we all had our very good breaks. We came back to the good old US of A College Station where we go to college and, dusted off that dusty old AYSL email inbox.
And somebody actually sent us an email.
Thank
God.
We got one email.
One email.
From a good friend from the Bespoke.
Thank you, Kyle. We owe us your life.
Kyle,
Wait.
We won't give out your last name. I was about to, but
we owe you our life. We don't owe you your life.
You gave your life to us, and now here we owe you one.
We were going to kill Kyle, but now we won't.
Yeah, because he emailed us.
Yeah.
All the rest of you were on thin ice.
It may not be tomorrow. It may not be the next day. But remember.
AYSL is coming for you.
Yes.
But Kyle was very nice and very considerate, and in classic Kyle fashion, he wanted to recommend to us, an anime, as I believe the traditional Japanese pronunciation.
Yikes. Yeah, so Kyle, you weeb, you asked us to
She fucking blazed you, Kyle.
Oh my gosh.
How does it feel to be called a weeb for the first time, Kyle?
Definitely for the first time, I'm sure.
We shouldn't make fun of Kyle. He was the only one who emailed us.
Yeah,
This is really like a biting the hand that feeds us scenario.
I'm sorry for razzing you, Kyle. It was a good suggestion because, man, this was a terrible movie.
No, it was good. Okay, so we watched the live-action Death Note movie that was on Netflix, which was his suggestion.
Yes.
He actually hadn't watched it himself, but he said, he had heard it was pretty bad. I think Death Note might have been, I haven't watched a ton of anime, but, he's pretty into it, and there's a lot of really cool stuff that he watches, and he's been giving me some other recommendations actually this year, but, I know that Death Note was actually, I think that was the first anything anime that he showed me, so I guess I watched the first episode maybe 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was the first time he ever showed me anything like that.
See, I have never, until now, we watched 3 episodes of the actual anime following watching this movie. I feel like as a palate cleanser and also just like as to compare and contrast.
Because, we're obviously going to goof about any and all parts of this, but at the same time, we're like, well, what parts of this were just wild and made up by this weird Americanized movie version?
Yeah, and what parts were actually a part of the original fiction. Yeah, so,
Melissa.
Yes.
Are you ready to ring us into the new year with our first 30-second plot?
Maybe?
Okay, so we're tightening up ship around here, all right? It's 2019. We don't have time, for all the little time wasters. Marie, what's the lady who's talking about how we all need to clean out our lives?
Marie Kondo.
I was going to say Marie Callender, but that's the one that makes the little freezer pot pies.
Yeah, she makes the pies.
Anyway.
Marie Callender... she wants you to be a hoarder. She's pro hoarding.
No, I think she wants you to get rid of everything in your house and sell it so
pies.
you can buy more pot pies. And then every time you can hold a pot pie and it gives you a spark of joy, you go, this is what life's all about.
We actually have in my house one very good Marie Callender's pie tin that we use to store all of our pies. It's like got a lid and everything.
Oh, that's nice.
And I remember my mom for several years was searching for a pie tin that could replicate the one we already had, but we could never find it. It's the only one like it that we have, and it's so good, and I wish we had another one because it's good for pies. That's all.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
That was a good story. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are trimming the fat. We're only giving you that prime content. We're talking about
and by prime content, I mean me talking about pies.
Yes, and also we're condensing our plots to 30 seconds because hey, we've been
That's more pie time.
That's more. That's by my math. that is approximately 15 seconds more we have to talk about pie.
Now with 15% more pie per podcast. Except not.
I was about to be like...
our podcast would have to be 100 seconds long.
Our podcast is approximately 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Man, wouldn't y'all like that? No, I'm just kidding. We're glad
everybody's like, please, I'm begging you.
We just release a 2-minute episode where we go, hey, we're not going to keep you around this way. Hey, if you're listening as a favor to me because I asked you to and you're just being nice, it's going to be over in just a minute. Don't worry. Just go check on that hot pocket you left in the microwave. Come back. It's going to be all done. You won't have to worry about it. Checked off the list.
Yeah. Well, okay. I feel like we should now get into the 30-second plot. It's been a good run up.
You think we've wasted enough time talking about how we're going to save a bunch of time from our shorter plot?
I was saying we've really hyped this one up, so I feel like I've got to do a good job since I've been nailing the 45-second plots. Let's see if I can do 30 seconds as well.
And see, I know you're saying that just because you're proud of yourself, and you should be, but every time you talk about it, it always makes me remember that, you've won so many more than I have, and that makes me sad.
Literally one more.
Yeah, but we've only done, 3 or 4 of them, so that's, 133% more, I think, by my math.
I feel like we shouldn't do live math on the podcast because if I attempt to do simple math live in my head on this podcast, I will look like an idiot in front of all of our listeners.
I have a tab open right now on my computer of my differential equations homework that I'm actually kind of interested in and think is going to be cool. But if I try to add 6 + 7 live on the air, I'm not excited about the results. Anyway,
Yikes. Yeah.
We've partially been stalling because I forgot to pull up the timer, but I do have it pulled up now. And Melissa, are you ready?
Yeah, could I get a 3, 2, 1?
3, 2, 1.
Our protagonist, Light, that's totally a normal first name, Turner, starts out the film with no friends selling math homework to jocks because the movie wants us to know he's smart. Mm-hmm. All that changes, however, when a mysterious notebook falls from the sky in front of him and he gets beaten up defending a pretty girl. While in detention, he finds out from a demon that the notebook has the power to kill anyone whose name he writes in it, like the bully from earlier. After sharing this information with Mia, the aforementioned girl, the two go on a gory notebook criminal killing spree, starting with the guy who killed Light's mom. Oh my gosh. After the quirky Detective L and Light's cop dad get a little too close on their tail, Light wants to stop, but the demon and Mia have other ideas. Light ends up using the notebook to kill her murderous GF and his murderous GF, and the best death before the detective finally finds it, and they end on a cliffhanger. Yikes.
We may have miscalculated.
I may have, like iCarly, flown too close to the sun.
Yeah, like Alexandria Daddario and iCarly, who built their gigantic bronze wings and flew too close to the sun. I was trying to think of another funny name for Dedalius, but I couldn't.
Yeah, no, that's a harder one. Icarus does translate pretty neatly into iCarly.
Who's Icarus? Anyway,
Yeah, so
okay, so
we did an experiment today and we learned an important lesson.
Wait, Melissa, can you consult your chemistry? Can you consult your big lab notebook that you've been taking notes in? And can you crunch the numbers one more time to see what the results were?
Yeah, so that would be a it just says I plugged it into the computer and the printout just says bad.
The printout is one of those old dot matrix things, and it's just a big frowny face.
Yeah, no, the computer developed sentience in order to look at me and said, you messed up, Chief. That's not it.
We'll have to have a discussion about what we'll do for plot going forward. I like the more condensed format, but it might not be conducive to trying to be funny while reading plots.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We're either going to have to cut down on what we consider as relevant plot and what the 30-second plot means, or we're going to have to expand it and just insist that we're both very, very funny all the time when we're reading them.
Or we could find we could sort of do, it doesn't have to be a clean number. We could do a 36-second plot or something similar to where we've got to fine tune it, where we find the the number of seconds where it's just enough of a challenge that we won't get it every single time.
Okay, I like the idea of kind of a quest to find the perfect. If you're walking out of a movie theater and someone's asking you about a movie you saw, what is the perfect amount of time to give the plot to them where you can accurately convey it, but you won't waste any of their time, and then also you can crack jokes in there. It's gonna be a tricky needle to thread.
But we'll find it.
We will. That'll be our next mission. First off, going through 2019.
Yes. And I guess starting off to generally talk about this movie, I have one really important thing to say.
Yeah.
And that's that especially in the live action movie, weirdly more than in the anime, even though the anime's character of Light is arguably way more evil, I somehow hate the live action Light so much more.
I think it's easy to. Because the anime version, he just gets a power trip instantly, and pretty instantly is sociopathic and evil about the way he behaves. The anime version gets a book, is kind of intrigued, and then meets a girlfriend who's just way wicked horny for death. Yeah. And then everything kind of goes off the rails from there.
Yeah. And you know what's weird? Even though Mia, the aforementioned, just like...
Oh, is that her name?
Yeah.
Oh, I literally
the girlfriend
forgot.
who's just really into killing people. Even though she is arguably, again, more evil, somehow I also like her more than a live action Light.
You know? You're not wrong. I mean...
Live action Light is just very hateable.
Well, okay, the first thing... His face is extremely punchable. Melissa, do you recall the fine actor gentleman's name, who seems like a very nice young lad, but do you recall his name? Because he was from that band, right?
I do not.
We're back to Michael Googles it. Played by Nat Wolff.
Nat Wolff.
Hold on. Just the main image for him on Google Images.
He looks a little Michael Cera-esque.
Yeah, kind of like Michael Cera. With a slight upturn at the edge of the lips, like, who, me?
Yeah, and like again, I didn't have so much of an issue with the actor. Like I thought that was fine. I'm sure in other movies, like playing a different character, he could have played a very likable character. But for some reason, Light Turner, which let me tell you is the dumbest Americanization of an anime name.
Okay, but it reminds me of the Japanese, like, Americanization of the baseball names. Like...
Yeah, but, like, couldn't they have... I guess it would have been, given their setting, it would have been a little strange for them to have kept the last name Yagami, I think it was, from the show. But I guess they also could have just not decided to set in Seattle for some reason.
Yeah, you know, that might have been it. Might have been the way it was just like weirdly set.
But the fact that they just chose Turner, like Light is the weird older brother of Timmy Turner, is just terrible. Now
that's an AU I could get behind. Light Turner with the Death Note versus Timmy Turner with fairies.
Yeah. Because I guess like Ryuk is kind of his evil version of having fairy godparents.
Yeah, it's kind of like if Cosmo was instead of really dumb, he was like he really wanted to kill people.
Yeah. Which was also interesting because in the 3 episodes, again, as I was about to say earlier in the podcast, these 3 episodes are the only bit of Death Note that I have interacted with media-wise.
Me too.
But in the anime, it seems like Ryuk is much more chill about the general killing vibes. Like, he's cool with Light killing a bunch of people. Marginally cool. He actually seems a little disapproving of it.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, I didn't expect this to go this far, but all right.
Yeah. It is portrayed in both, more so in the anime than the movie. and again, we did talk about this in the plot, but just kind of to make sure we're all up to the just to make sure we're all on the same page. The basic plot is, you have this kid, he's just a normal kid, this notebook falls from the sky, and it's called the Death Note. Right after he gets it, this weird death god creature appears to him. His name is Ryuk.
Ryuk.
Did I pronounce it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they even Americanized it weirdly in the movie where he called him just like Ryuk or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know which is correct.
I don't want to correct you with the wrong pronunciation because then I sound like an even bigger fool.
Either way, if we can just both admit that we're probably both going to be both right and wrong throughout the course of the episode.
Probably.
He's going to go this big kind of feathered, really cool. Let me actually look up because it's a really cool name. It's a type of thing from Japanese folklore mythology called Shinigami. It's like a god of death, basically. Anyway, he appears to him and basically explains the rules of the book where you write someone's name in the book. As long as you know their name and you know their face, you can write it down. And there's a lot of other specific rules in the anime versus the movie about how they'll die or when and all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, you write their name in the book and then pretty soon they die in the way that you specify.
You can specify the way that they die, and for up to 2 days before their death, you kind of have control of their behavior based on the way that they die. So you can do really specific things.
Yeah, so that didn't really become a part of the plot yet in the anime from what we watched because it was still kind of developing.
Yes. As far as episode 3, Anime Light was still very fixated on just killing everybody via heart attack.
Yes. And I think and the other thing about the plot that I guess it kind of makes sense, but it is kind of a big question. While their characters are very different, in the way that they are and their likability or as a character, they both instantly get a god complex.
Yeah.
With the anime one, I guess it almost makes sense because he's shown to be kind of a weird, nerdy, smart kid, maybe a little bit not super empathetic in general.
Yeah.
Kind of very much not. He gets this power and he instantly goes, I know what I can do with this. I can kill a bunch of people who are evil, which again seems like, very morally gray, but at the same time, seems like something maybe.
Yeah.
But he kind of starts going off the handle with it and killing a bunch of people. And then, he starts attributing himself to this entity called Kira.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's an important difference between the anime and the movie.
Yes.
In that, in the movie, or actually, I want to start with the anime first.
Sorry, we're kind of ping-ponging back and forth.
Light just goes buck wild killing people, just killing tons and tons of prisoners, all the prisoners he can get from his cop dad's little database. He's just finding all their names and faces and just murdering tons of them, as many as he can write down in between the hours that he has to do homework in school. Because he's still really fixated on school, which is funny.
Which is a mood.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna kill people and further my societal agenda.
But I
first,
can't get a B.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyways, people start just noticing that this keeps happening. So people organically start noticing this weird trend and start attributing these deaths to an entity they refer to as Kira, which is, I guess, he says they're oh man, they've just started calling me this, and I guess it's based on kind of based on the English word for killer a little bit. And he's it's not the name I would have chosen for myself. It's kind of weird, but I'll go with it.
Yeah.
And then in the movie, Light has been killing people already. And then him and his girlfriend, Mia, decide, you know what, this killing stuff, we've been going under the radar so far. Nobody has really caught on to the fact that somebody is murdering people. What we really need to do is give ourselves a name so now people can try to find who's murdering people. And then Light says, oh, we should call ourselves Kira because it means light in Norwegian or something. And also it's Japanese because they still had to fit Kira in even though they had completely changed the setting, so it didn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
So they just shoehorned it in really awkwardly.
Yeah. And like the thing with the name was obviously, yeah, Light Turner is a lot lamer, where he just kind of came up with it instead of having it put upon him.
Yeah. It's like giving yourself your own nickname, like walking up to your friends and being like, "Hey, I want a nickname now. All of you are just going to call me this, if that's okay."
Yeah, break me off. Yeah, Melissa, if you got to pick your nickname, what would you like? Break it off for me right now. Like you were gonna walk up to us, and I mean, to be fair, we would say no because no one's allowed to assign their own
Yeah.
nickname. But
Yeah. You can choose your own name, that's fine. Nicknames are off the table.
yes,
But so I don't know what I would choose for a nickname. I know back in elementary school, I mean in high school everybody called me Mel usually.
oh
That
yeah,
just happened like it was like one of my friends called me that and it just sort of spread throughout the entire school.
oh, but that's nice.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad nickname. At one point in elementary school, I do remember trying to force Missy, even though that's like, no offense to anybody who goes by Missy and whose name is Melissa, but it's a bad nickname for Melissa. And it's good that that didn't catch on, even though I really, really wanted it at the time to catch on because I thought that would be like a cool nickname. It's just,
Man, that's I did not know that about you. That's cool.
I thought I'd mentioned that before.
I feel like I could not have excised that kind of information.
that I'd once tried to force a nickname on myself.
Well, specifically that one. But anyway, and even in the anime, obviously people started attributing it to this force or god or person called Kira. And as soon as that happens, it instantly goes to his head and he goes, "Oh, I'm a god and I can pass judgment on people." That's cool, right?
Yeah.
But I think in the movie, it was just because it happened more organically in the anime. And in the movie, it's like, oh, he calls himself Kira and it's kind of a god thing. So we have to make sure that happens here for the plot to make sense.
Yeah.
And so he just kind of goes, "Hey, I kind of want to be a god. You ever thought about it? We should try that."
And Mia's like, heck yeah, I've probably already thought about it a lot.
Heck yeah. I'm definitely horny for you and not for the book.
Yeah, no, she's... Mia, their relationship is honestly one of the kind of funniest parts of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just because even though they're like, while they're doing all these murders in secret with this book, they're also just busy acting like literally the world's most obnoxious high school couple. Like the kind of couple you'd see in the halls and just instantly want to be in a different room from these people because they're just insufferable. So imagine if you found out that the world's grossest couple in your high school was also committing a bunch of murders with a magical book.
And was also given a godlike ability to kill anyone they pleased.
Yeah.
And we can also give a brief return to the we don't know how police or cops work corner, because I kind of have a question. So I know police obviously have access to sensitive records, like especially if they're any involved in like detective work or any kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But is it? I mean, I guess in the anime he like hacks into his dad's computer.
Yeah.
But in the movie that's never explained. He never hacks into his dad's computer. He just like has that access.
It says, I believe L says at one point that he did hack into his dad's computer. Like, that's how he was getting it. It was hacking.
Okay. Wait, L or Light?
L.
Oh, L says that Light hacked his dad. Okay. Yeah, I might have been...
Because that's how he traced Light back to who Light was.
I might have been in the bathroom or not paying attention because it was not it was not a good movie.
Yeah, it wasn't a great movie. Honestly, speaking of L, he was probably the best part of the movie. I liked him.
Oh, yeah.
He was just a cool dude.
No.
I liked his I mean, kind of adopted dad, Watari.
Yeah, he was sweet.
Yeah, and I'm sad that Watari died. He didn't deserve that.
He did not. Elle definitely had a kind of eccentric kind of a very certain type of portrayal where like it was, I mean, it's said like in the lore that comes in later, it's specified that he's basically grew up in this orphanage where they bred super spies, and like he had
where they were trying to train super kid detectives.
Mm-hmm. And there was this whole test where they would basically put them in like this weird solitary place for 2 weeks or something. And did you remember that part?
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, it was a whole thing where Watari was talking about they have to put them in some kind of thing where they can't talk or eat or do anything in like a cell with no wall. I mean, it was some really buck wild thing like that where they had to just leave them there for 2 weeks, and as long as they could like come out sane the other side, they could like start the bulk of the training program. And he was the youngest one to ever do it at like
Oh my
6 years old.
gosh. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how I like completely zoned out through that part.
I mean, again, I mean, we were both working on homework.
Yeah. Okay, did this man, I should have looked it up. But whether this is a plot, because I legitimately don't know whether this is a plot point from the anime that this happened to Elle in the anime, or whether this was just something wild that the movie made up.
Wait, the thing with the school and
The
everything?
thing with the school.
No, I imagine. I mean, because the anime seemed like, from what we watched, like it was a lot bigger. I guess just because they have more time on their hands. For
Yeah.
one, a lot better about world building and kind of
Yeah.
setting up the rules and
So
all that kind of
the
stuff.
anime could probably have introduced that concept more organically instead of randomly dropping it into the middle of the movie. Like, oh, you know that quirky detective? He trained at a secret spy kids school for detective boys, and we're never going to mention it again.
Speaking of dropping exposition, why did the live action movie kill his mom for no reason?
I think it was because they were trying to make Light a more redeemable character, I think, because in the anime, he's just blatantly a sociopath who finds a notebook and immediately uses it to become God. Where I think...
Okay, we've already been discussing around it, but for some reason saying it like that makes it sound really funny.
Yeah, but
Like
in
dark
the
scribble
movie,
knots.
which it definitely backfired because, again, like I've said multiple times before, I definitely hated movie Light so much more than I hate anime Light. But I think they wanted to, especially for his first two victims, they wanted to give him a sort of reason to do a good reason to kill them.
Yeah, and I guess that's fair, but he never like in the movie was like, "Oh, this one's for you, mom." Like it was never relevant to his character arc ever. If
I
I
think so.
Really?
I mean, he got in a whole argument with his dad for not going full vigilante justice
Oh,
as a
yeah.
cop and killing
Okay.
that dude. And then I think Ryuk specifically says, "Hey, hey, you know, with this notebook, because he had killed one person already who I want to talk about."
Yes.
And then he was reluctant to kill again. And Ryuk said, "Hey, you know who you could kill? That jerk who killed your mom."
Yeah, so the kind of growing arc and acceptance of using the book were different. Like if you kind of compare and contrast them, because in the anime he was weirded out, but in the anime it's an interesting thing. His first thought as soon as he got the book was like, I'm gonna turn on the TV and see if there's some criminal or whatever. Because he read it and he was like, this is weird, but I'm gonna try it. And like he
Yeah.
wrote down in the book some random dude who was like in a hostage situation and he died, and he was like, wow, okay, but that's crazy. It's obviously not real. He just kind of freaked out a little about it and moved along. In the movie, or it was like the thing with the bully, which we can get back to in a second, where he just, again, I don't think he really believed it was going to work at the
Yeah.
time. So the first one almost doesn't count because like
Yeah.
you didn't really think it was going to work. And then the second time in the anime, it really seems like he doesn't have a super strong inclination to try it again. He's kind of freaked out a little bit about it, but like he
Yeah.
sees this woman like who's like about to be assaulted, and he's like, and he gets like freaked out, so he does use it, and it works to like, and she gets away and everything, and then he goes, oh wow, I can keep using this. And then in the versus the movie where he specifically targets like the dude who I guess killed his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dude who killed his mom, he was like a drunk driver or something, and he used his money to get his way out of the court.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I guess seems like one of those, they just give him a free pass. They want us as an audience to give him a free pass on the whole being evil
On the
thing.
extremely grisly murders.
Yeah, on like the super grisly murders, just because he, more than in the anime they do. The anime is more committed to having a character who's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
yeah.
even before he, you know, you were saying about how he uses the notebook the first time because he doesn't think it's going to work, and then he gets kind of freaked out. But literally after he uses the notebook the first time, there's this whole monologue where he's walking home from like cram school, and he's
Wait, excuse me, what?
cram school. It's like an after school studying sort of thing. A lot of people, it's like to it's sort of like extracurricular classes, like after school more classes in order to pass different tests like jobs and stuff like that.
Okay. Sorry, I think I must have missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
that's what
I
it's
didn't know
called.
if that was just some weird euphemism for like a school for gifted people. Like
No, it's
we're gonna
cram
cram
school.
all these books in your brain.
Yeah, no, that's yeah.
Welcome to cram school. I'm sorry.
He has a whole monologue where he's talking about how the world is dirty and awful, and it sucks that there's so many people who are evil. And then later he sees the girl, and it seems like he's just like, all right, let's try this again. Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, he does not seem to care a ton about the situation at hand, but he's at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think an important difference is that for movie Light, let's call him Mr. Turner.
Dr. Turner.
For Mr. Turner, Dr. Turner is his dad.
He didn't go to 10 years of cop school to be called Mr. Turner.
Yes. Mr. Turner has to be basically persuaded by the demon to even write down the first name. Ryuk shows up in his detention classroom and wrecks the whole place.
That was a much different...
Yeah, they didn't show how he got out of that one, because if I was a kid in detention and then the teacher comes back, the teacher leaves to go to the bathroom, and then she comes back, and the entire room is just absolutely wrecked. There are like shelves that were in the scientific room that are on the ground. There's paper strewn everywhere. I guess a kid died, so they were maybe a little distracted, but they didn't get him in trouble for that, it seems.
They really didn't. My original fear was he's gonna kill the nice old detention lady so he can get away with it.
Oh no.
Because he didn't.
See, I knew that wasn't going to happen, probably. I knew it was going to be the bully.
Yeah, no, right. But, like, that was my big fear.
Yeah.
One fear.
But Ryuk has to talk him into using the book the first time, whereas in the anime, Light uses the book on his own the first 2 times, and then it's like a cut in time to a week later to when the demon first shows up, Ryuk, and as Light says, he's literally been writing names nonstop in this thing every day after school for that entire week, waiting for Ryuk to show up, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Ryuk shows up and he's like, hey, dude, what the hell?
And he shows his book and he goes, I got the ledger all filled. I got all my signatures.
Yeah.
I filled out my practice record.
He's like, I've been writing names in the hopes that you would eventually show up. So there's no, like, talking him into doing it. If anything, yeah.
The one thing I liked about the movie vis-a-vis the anime did seem to have like a lot more building of Ryuk as like interesting. The thing that is consistent to both is that he's just bored and he just wanted to like drop the death note into the real world so he could play around and like see someone kill a bunch of people and everything.
Yeah.
But he did seem to have a little bit more personality in the anime. But the way that they did like the costuming and the special effects in the movie, I kind of liked the live action Ryuk.
See, I don't know whether I like the live action Ryuk. He looked kind of like the weird love child of Beetlejuice and the Babadook.
See, I was going to say like Jared Leto Joker and Pennywise because he's got kind of the 5 head.
Yeah, that's true. There's probably a little, it's like Beetlejuice, Babadook, Pennywise.
All you monster fuckers out there try to get a piece of this. You shouldn't, and you won't. I guarantee it. You don't, like, look, you won't want to. I promise.
Yeah.
There's nothing here for you. Go home.
Some people might want to.
Well, some people?
I mean, literally, you've seen the internet, Michael.
I have seen the internet. It was revealed to me. It was opened up. The seal was opened, and
I feel like more people would want to, like, do him than Pennywise. I feel like Pennywise is worse.
No, that is true. I mean, Pennywise is, like, the worst, is the critical representation of everything that's wrong with anyone who claims to be a monster fucker.
Yeah, no, Pennywise is very bad.
Yes.
And
quite the forehead, I might say.
Yes. Big forehead. Not great.
Yeah, but I liked the personality that the live action Ryuk kind of lended to him, but yeah, no, it wasn't great. I mean, the anime, it was kind of haunting because his face basically just never moves. It's almost stationary, which I don't know if there's anything specifically tied to the mythology or the history on that.
Well, he's got special eyes.
Yes, he does have
my brand.
The what?
Wait, I keep forgetting you Texas people have never seen the 1-800 My Brand Contacts commercial.
You're right. And I mean, I guess there's a
look with your special eyes.
There's a very small audience of New Mexico-centered people that might appreciate that joke.
I mean, I think it played in more places than New Mexico. I don't know why none of y'all have seen that iconic commercial.
He does have special Shinigami eyes that basically have a power that he can give away to let him see people's names when he looks at them. And that was all really well and cool and stuff. But that was all going to come into play the next episode. And we did not have time. We wanted to go to bed.
Yeah, we were sleepy.
Yeah.
But,
go ahead.
I was going to say about just generally, I don't want to return to the topic of just how much I dislike this light, but I feel like I have to because there's more things to add. First, the top hat. There's a school dance as part of the plot.
I don't know how I forgot about that.
And so Mia's there. She's in a pretty dress. She looks like, for being so crazy, they did a good job of making Mia look very normal. She's just like a normal high school girl, very pretty. She's doing her own thing.
Yeah, but like a high school girl who got like a pretty cool dress. I mean, it's not like unbelievable. It's just like they're going to some homecoming or whatever.
Yeah,
the most American dance they could think of.
It's homecoming. And then she passes him. She's like, I got you something. So you're expecting, I don't know what I was expecting. I was not expecting her to pull out a full top hat. And then inside the top hat is like, I have the notebook because she had taken it. The police found their house.
We don't really have the time to get into it, but like there is kind of a very complicated end of the movie where she briefly gets ownership of the book. She writes like his name in the book with some like certain parameters, and then but he writes hers and all of this other stuff, and like everything kind of unfolds. And Light actually kind of tricked everybody at the end. And he
pulled a gambit.
I do love that kind of stuff. Like I love any kind of fiction where they kind of introduce like a set of rules, some kind of magic or something, and then they play with it in like a really interesting, like playing chess kind of way.
It was fun.
I did think, and obviously it probably
I imagine the anime probably does that better because it has a longer time to build that up.
Yeah, and so in the anime, and obviously probably got their plot mostly from the anime, so credit where credit is due to the source material. But that was a cool plot point. I liked that. But sorry, keep going.
Yeah, but she has a whole like top, like a gigantic stovetop, like top hat for him, and they wear it into this dance, and they're both dancing around. And at one point, again, because like the FBI is looking for him, so she like goes and asks another kid to dance, and they put the top hat on that kid, and that kid is surprisingly tolerant of just having a top hat put on his head.
And then he starts walking around like deceivingly.
Yeah, and then Light goes and runs off, and he had done something mean to Atari to try to find out who L was, and then he was gonna burn the page so Atari didn't actually die, but Mia stole the page because she wanted to burn the page with Light's name so she could blackmail him into giving her the book.
But still being her boyfriend.
Actually, I'm curious about how much Mia wanted Elle to be her boyfriend and how much she was in love with the book.
That is interesting because, I mean, she seemed very off and on about their relationship, and there was kind of the whole thing at the end where she very clearly, getting the book was her only concern.
Yeah.
But, like, it still seemed to be kind of a priority for her. Like, to me, if I had to put it into words, I would say she wanted to have control of the book, but also a little bit control of him, but still have him.
Yeah.
But like, if she had to lose him, she was willing to do that for the book.
Yeah.
I think that is the most,
But anyways, while Light is running around, in order to he has to get something from his locker because he's trying to find the page to burn so Watari doesn't die, but he does anyways. And at one point he slams open his locker and then leaves it open while he runs away, which is first of all, bad security, but second of all, inside his locker there are two critical things. The first one is one of those stickers with the weird letters with the dots around them.
Yeah,
that says normal people scare me.
I don't know if it is the Death Note font or if it's Hot Topic font.
No, it's Hot Topic font.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's Hot Topic, normal people scare me font. And then a picture of him and Mia.
Sorry, I'm going to keep vomiting for a second. You can keep going.
Where she has his arms around her neck and she's doing a pretty smile, and then he's doing the I'm a cool teen tongue out pose, and it's again, a solidification of why they are the worst couple at this high school.
I don't fit in. I never want to fit in. Have you ever seen me wearing anything but this stupid top hat?
Yeah, no, that's both of them.
And the thing is, about this movie, I can suspend my disbelief for them to have a magical note, that death note that you can ride in and kill people. I can suspend my disbelief for all of that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But the absolutely most unbelievable part of this movie is when they walked into the dance like they were, that he didn't immediately get pushed onto the ground.
Yeah, that someone didn't immediately walk over to him and just give him the biggest noogie.
Just like, here, come with me. We're going to have to dunk you in the toilet real quick. I'm going to need that top hat.
Yeah. I do like the fact that with Mia, she is established as one of those where it's like the typical rom-com movie where it's, oh, this pretty girl who doesn't have too many friends, but she's so pretty and sweet. And then you realize over the course of the film that the reason why she doesn't have any friends is because she's super, like, crazy and, like, into death.
Yes.
And that's probably the reason why.
We didn't really get an anime comparison for her because she didn't show up yet in the anime, really.
Yes.
But my friend Kyle said that it was a totally different characterization. In the anime, she was basically just like his weird servant who was just doing whatever he wanted.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yikes.
But still, I did think that was a fun, interesting character where, she doesn't have friends because she's crazy and probably, she seems like she would be into like some like Wiccan, some like fun witch stuff.
I mean, I feel like that's, I guess, like an insult to people who are into fun witch stuff she's way into death.
Okay, fair. But like...
Like, I feel like most of the people who are into fun witch stuff wouldn't murder.
No, that's the thing. Because, like, anyone I know who's been, like, playing around with that a little bit, like, it's mostly about, like, you know, channeling, like, it's about, like, you know, making sure that everything's kind of, like, in sync and, like, doing your things to, like, make things good for yourself. Like, just in general, like, doing whatever you can to, like, you know, align yourself with the universe, like make yourself like right by the universe and like the way it works and everything like that.
Yeah, I think she's making herself pretty wrong by the universe.
pretty wrong by the universe. Like, I'm going to take everybody else out.
Yeah, no, it seems like she's doing maybe some not getting some bad karma, maybe. It just seems
her crystals would not be fond if they knew what she was doing.
Yeah, like her chakras are not great.
If she needed to be, if they put sage on in the house, like she wouldn't be able to walk in. Like she would be cleansed.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like a sort of a weird, because in this case, I feel like again in the anime, Light is shown to be the weird like quiet loner kid, and again, immediately gets a god complex and becomes a sociopath. But I guess he's the weird quiet loner. He's even less the weird quiet loner kid, more than he is that like one kid who gets straight A's but never talks to anybody because they're like so focused on school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an interesting characterization difference between, like, they showed Light doing the math homework for other kids because I guess they did want to establish that he's also smart. But they characterized both him and Mia much more as the like not very many friends, weird like loner kids in high school who like just like sit alone at lunch and are not having a great time, and then they get the notebook and they go on a murdering spree, which I feel like, I don't know,
it's worse.
Yeah.
I feel like the characterization kind of fell flat in the movie because in the anime, it's, you know, everyone's talking about he's always the top of his class, and you really do get the sense that he's very intelligent from the way that he hacked everything and all this other stuff. In the movie, you see him handing out the homework, and it's like, oh, so he's just a huge dweeb.
Yeah.
So he can do algebra 5 and like on 20 different sheets of the same paper. Like,
yeah. It's just like, I don't know. I thought it was sort of a weird, and I guess again, they were also trying to, again, give Movie Light way more of a pass for the whole murder thing.
Mm-hmm. They were trying to redeem him, which was weird.
They're like, yeah, he did like a bunch of murders, but and I guess like they tried to make it more of a, I mean, both him and the anime Light are focused mostly on murdering criminals. Like the only one who murders non-criminals is Mia, his girlfriend.
Yes.
But they still are just like, oh, hey, but like he was a good person. I don't know. it was more of a weird exploration of his character than, like, I guess the exploration of, like, oh, this super perfectionist kid who seems like totally normal on the outside secretly has a Death Note book and has, like, develops this huge god complex with controlling the world. I feel like it's just maybe, like, a much more interesting character study, maybe. But, again, without having... Again, the movie had a much shorter time to develop it, and without seeing the full plot of both of them, I'm not sure if I have
right. Yeah. No,
the authority to...
I think that's totally fair. And I think just in general, the vibe for the movie, especially getting a little taste of the source material, is it seemed like it was a cool idea to, like, give some homage to, like, the source material. But it kind of, I mean, I say cool idea.
Homage?
Yeah. Okay. Both of the things I said are both kind of lies.
Yeah.
But, like, it was, I mean, because again, I hate to say cool idea because almost all of these weird, like, Americanized versions of them seem to fall flat in the exact same ways, where it's like it loses a lot of the stuff of what made the source material so good.
I feel like it was the Percy Jackson movie of anime adaptations.
Yeah. And again, I mean, just in general, the vibe was it fell flat. It couldn't really establish, like, its aesthetic or what exactly its tone was. It was just kind of weird. I mean, like...
Besides Light's hair? Okay, because I was wondering if he had weird hair in the anime, but no, he had pretty normal hair in the anime. They just decided to give him super weird hair, like frosted tips in the movie.
Well, I think that was just to give him, like, I mean, I definitely saw that, and I saw him handing out the homework and being the weird loner kid and thought, yeah, it checks out. Anyway, but it was fun to watch, but not very good. Are you ready for some ratings?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. I'll go first this time. I feel like usually we let you go first, and I feel like if we let anyone go first, like, almost all the time, it's usually slight statistical bias, probably.
Yeah.
To, like, I feel like on the one hand I try to be honest, but I feel like I usually comb my answers a little bit to you, a little bit, just because. Well, but we usually have good ratings though, so that's also just probably coincidence. I mean, not coincidence. We're probably thinking somewhere in the same ballpark. Literary merit, again, we're not talking about source material. We're just talking about the movie. So if I didn't watch any of the anime, just the movie, we'll say 4. That's a little higher than some of the other movies on the list. Like, I don't know. It was dry and watered down and a little weird, but I still thought, I guess it's weird to give it credit for, like, the thing it came from, because it's weird to judge it.
Well, I guess it's one part of the adaptation that they didn't mess up was, like, the last Gambit sort of part at the end.
Yeah, and I guess that is the thing where, like...
They could have done it better.
Mentioning Percy Jackson, there are some that just take the plot and go, oh, this? And then just throw it away.
Yeah.
So the fact that they kept some of the parts of what made the original plot so interesting, you got to give them something. I'll throw them a bone for that. Fun factor, I'll just give it a 4 again. Like, it wasn't very fun, wasn't very interesting, but the same concepts of what make the plot interesting are also, oh, like, I like that. Like, I like the idea of the Death Note.
Yeah.
It's a cool concept. Horniness. This is going to be a tricky one. It's a tricky... his girlfriend's very horny.
Yeah, in general. For Death and him.
He seems to be, like, on board with it, but at some point he's like, wow, she's really... I think she herself...
Well, at one point she tells him straight up that he shouldn't ask people whether he can kiss them or not. Like, that he shouldn't ask permission to just kiss people.
Oh, yeah. He was like, can I kiss you? And she goes... What does she say?
She's like, you're not supposed to ask.
And it's like, it's 20... Anyway, her weird... I think okay, here's my verdict. Her absolute... Is there an opposite of absolute zero of temperature? Like the absolute maximum a temperature can reach in the universe? I guess not, because it's a measure of energy, right?
Yeah, I don't know whether there's an absolute maximum. I guess it would be like the Big Bang.
Yeah, exactly. Like whatever, because like when all of matter was compressed into the smallest unit it could possibly be.
That would have been the biggest amount of energy.
Whatever the absolute Kelvin of that ball of mass, that is the horniness that she is.
Yeah.
But it's perfectly counterbalanced by the complete lack of horniness I see when I look at
Exuded
Light
from
Turner.
Light.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to give it a dead perfect 5.
Yeah.
All right, you?
I'm going to give it a literary merit of 3, I think. And then I feel like I feel like the good parts of the just the concept of a death note and also the gambit at the end, I feel like I'd almost put those positives more, like rate them into a higher rating in the fun category than the literary merit category.
I
so
buy
I think
that.
I'll give that one like a 6 maybe. Actually, 5.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah. And then horniness, I think I'm gonna give a 6. I feel like the amount that Mia exudes is just a little bit more than like how terrible Light is.
So you feel like in the battle where she's shooting her horny beam and he's like
she's winning a little bit.
And he's shielding with like his anti-horny ray.
Yeah.
His anti-horny Ray Romano.
Yeah.
She's edging out. Like if she was given enough time, she would overtake him. Like
yes.
Yeah.
And then I do have this is to close out, just since we have done the ratings, I did have 2 more things I wanted to add.
Okay.
Theories mostly.
Okay, interesting.
First off, I believe that the only reason that they established that one bully guy had been held back 2 years and was thus 18 was specifically so it would be kosher for Light to totally murder him.
Oh, yeah, but...
So he wasn't murdering a literal child?
I also forgot about the true moment. I said I knew he was a dweeb with the math homework, but he literally, when the bullies... I completely can't believe we forgot about this. When the bully is about to, like... He's, like, messing with Mia, I think, or one of the girls there. He, like, is going to try to stand up for her or whatever. And so he, like, gets between them. And the bully's like, what are you going to do, huh? You going to, like, hit me?
Yeah.
And he goes... Actually, I know you're 18 and I'm 17 and that makes me a minor. So unless you want to get put on some kind of registry for beating up kids, you better be And then he just decks him.
See, I thought you were going to reference the moment a little bit before that where, like, Mia first gets pushed and he, like, stands up and does, like, I don't know whether it's, like, the face or the tone of voice, but he was like, don't you touch her! And, like, I don't know why, but I literally got, like fight or flight flashback to like every single guy I had tried so hard to avoid in high school and was just like, no, hard pass, no, nah.
Bad.
Yeah, no,
evil.
Like he just like exuded like just like. Ugh.
Yes, no, that's good. You were trying to think of a word for it, but there wasn't. There was just.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, so first theory was that.
Cool.
Second theory is that if any of you listen to the Adventure Zone, Elle is basically grown-up Angus MacDonald.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's good. No, it's good because except, I forgot about the part of the Adventure Zone where they locked Angus in like a crypt for 2 weeks to see if he would come out the other side and be sane. But
well, Angus is probably 10 in the Adventure Zone, so that happened before the events.
No, like that's probably one of the live shows.
Yeah. Angus's grandpa, who they never talk about.
He was a secret spy trainer trained to be Angus MacDonald, boy detective.
Yeah.
And excellent. Okay, that's a good headcanon. Headcanon.
We never did learn Elle's name, so like it could be Angus MacDonald.
Yeah, he got it from the very end. Angus MacDonald.
Yeah, Angus MacDonald.
Angus McDongle. All right, so I think that's almost everything.
Yeah, do we want to talk about what we're going to be doing next week, probably, or next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think this is one of the first weeks where we don't 100% we have a couple ideas.
Yeah.
But also just a couple quick shout outs, like, again, thank you,
Kyle.
We really appreciate it. And again, like, this isn't the ultimatum that we gave and was met, so y'all were on thin ice, but Kyle saved y'all.
Kyle saved all of you.
That was something, and that was great, but like we'd love to keep getting emails. Like, Kyle, feel free to email us back about other stuff you think we should maybe cover sometime in the future. Like, we're not going to necessarily cover everything you talk about, but
if we see something in the email and it sounds like it's interesting, and we definitely will try to like cover the things people ask us to in emails.
Yeah, for sure. If you have suggestions, if you just want to talk to us, like we'll read you on the air. Like if you want to hear yourself in your earbuds, like from Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever you play from, like we'll read your email, or like we just want to hear from like people who listen to the show. It's nice when we get some feedback that there are people listening. Are
it's
you
really
still
nice.
listening? Whoa.
Yeah.
But anyway, so shout out to Kyle. Shout out to my friend Luke Armstrong from Maggie Fish Camp, because he was shouting us out in a big group chat I'm in the other day. So if you ever get caught up to this episode that does not fall on deaf ears, we really appreciate anybody getting the word out.
Honestly, I always get a little bit scared whenever I think of people that like I talk to every day in real life listening to this, but like the people I know, thank you for listening.
Yeah. It's a little intimidating, because I think we might be trying to put up some like, basic flyers, or like the cool sticker Melissa made, the logo and everything. We might be putting those up a couple places around campus, which is interesting. But like, when I said that right now in real life, I saw Melissa like shrivel up. Like, I don't know the best metaphor, but in complete apprehension and fear of the idea of like more people that she might run into every day listening to it.
I mean, like, it's good, and I like having listeners. Sometimes I just get a little bit freaked out about it.
No, it's understandable. And we're obviously like, but we are thankful for anybody who listens, and we're super grateful to you guys, especially in 2019, where we're, just looking to kind of get the word out. But we are mostly, at the end of the day, we have a really fun time doing this.
Yeah.
And we like the fact that some other people get some enjoyment out of it too. That's really cool. I think there was still something that you were talking about, but I was giving some shout outs.
Oh, we were talking about what we might be doing next week.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking about covering Bandersnatch, since that just dropped on Netflix. And we also have a lot to say about Black Mirror in general, because it's one of the things that brought our general friend group together in college. We watched like all the seasons of Black Mirror as a group in college.
Yeah, and Bandersnatch, I still haven't heard a lot of specifically good or bad press on it, but either way it's fairly recent, and it seems like a cool thing that I don't think people were talking about it like they were talking about Bird Box or whatever. The next time something like Bird Box becomes a big like meme, now that we're kind of up to date and back to school and making episodes again, we'll definitely have to cover something like that.
Yeah.
But no, we are interested. We might be trying to do not just a Bandersnatch watch, but a general Black Mirror discussion, because there's a lot of decent quality stuff from that show.
I also at some point want to talk about The Haunting of Hill House, because I watched that over the break and it was really good.
Oh yeah, I still need to watch that.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have a full kind of plate ahead of us for the year. Again, we're always down for new suggestions, but we're really excited. Anything else, Melissa?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, then this has been Are You Still Listening? A podcast about Netflix. I thought maybe we had like a readout script, but I forget. We have a couple things. We might unify that more, make it more readouts. Anyway, whatever. And we'll keep talking.
If you keep listening.
Wow, that was rough. That's on me. I didn't.
Yeah.
You said
well,
it.
I completely forgot. Like, I knew what it was, but I just completely forgot what it was in like that moment. So I'm glad that you had the first part, and I feel like I came in a little fast with the second part because I was relieved to remember what it was.
That's fine, but I also forgot that I was supposed to also say the second part. So
yeah.
Also, I don't know. This is kind of a long-winded outro. I don't know if we've been playing the theme song music yet or not, but like maybe it's been playing this whole time. Anyway, bye-bye.
Bye.